Menstrual blood is the only source of blood that is not automatically induced. Yet in modern society, this is the most hidden blood, that's one that is rarely spoken of and almost never seen except privately by women. So today, our conversation is centering around menstrual hygiene. And we are shining our spotlight on one of the hardworking young women in the city. She has an organization, and today we are going to talk about what the organization does. But before that, we are going to have a conversation on menstrual hygiene, because tomorrow I understand that she's doing something for a community under menstrual hygiene. So, welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
It's good to have you here. So before we talk about your organization and what you are doing tomorrow, I understand that your area of focus is menstrual hygiene for tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay, so what is menstrual hygiene management? When we say that, what do we mean?
All right, so when you talk about menstrual hygiene management, many people have different ways of defining that, but I would always say that it's the way an adolescent lady or an adolescent woman would keep herself clean and safe during her period. Okay. Yeah. So how to keep yourself safe and also clean during your period.
So it's only for adolescents. It's not.
So when I say adolescents, we all know that people who usually flow or people who usually menstruate are doing that in that category. Like most of the adolescent women and also adults who are above there. But let's say with our program for tomorrow, we're actually concentrating on adolescent girls. And so if I'm to say certain things, I would be limiting it to that area.
Okay. Yeah. So why are you concentrating on adolescent girls?
Okay, so with the program we are doing tomorrow, it's
away from the program.
Okay, so why we are concentrating?
Yeah, why are you concentrating on?
All right, so we actually sort of adolescent ladies or girls because we realize they seem to be lacking behind in certain things. And so talking about experience, being in the classroom and also working in some number of communities and with some number of girls, you realize that they lack certain information. And many people feel menses is a curse. And so these are the little things we feel if we should educate you more on, you would be able to improve. And you know, I always say that menstruation can make and also unmake you. And so we are concentrating more on that. So our beneficiaries at least can serve as, let's say, ambassadors. So at least you've gone through that process. You should be able to educate your colleagues on that. And so that's why we are doing this.
Okay, so what specific problems do girls face when it comes to menstrual hygiene management?
Okay, so I would say one is how to keep themselves clean. That's especially with their sanitary pad. And so many people don't even know how to keep that safe or keep that clean. We have people who would also repeat a sanitary pad because she feels, oh, the blood didn't really stain. Like the stain didn't really, let's say, soak that much. So, oh, I can use this for tomorrow. Somebody too wouldn't really know how to keep or how to throw that away afterwards. And so we feel it's just a matter of wrapping that and then throwing it somewhere else. Yeah. So these are the few stuff I think we can always work around.
Okay. You know, when it comes to menstrual hygiene management, I think that a lot of people say, well, if you change your pad or you are trying to change your pad, you should take your bath and all of that. And if we are being honest, in some communities, even access to water is a problem.
Yeah.
So let's say in the absence of excess water, that maybe every time that you change your pad, you'd have to, bath a whole bucket of water. What do you think young girls living in these communities can do to keep themselves clean?
Okay, so I think one thing they can do is the use of paper. So you get a clean paper and then use that to wipe. Or else you can also use water, a bit of water. Find a neat rag or a neat cloth, then use that to wipe off. Yeah. So these are the two options I might give somebody in that situation.
Okay. So what are the negative effects of menstrual hygiene?
Okay. So the negative effects, I would say, somebody being prone to pregnancy, let's say, when you are not able to take yourself that clean. So let me bring the scenario. Let's say a girl doesn't really know much about all these, how to keep yourself clean. A man can easily bring you in. He's trying to take you through, oh, you should do this, you should do that, and the person can easily do something with you. So I would say another one is the person is actually prone to a lot of infections. Because if you're unable to keep yourself clean, definitely some of these things happen. And also body odor. But if you're unable to keep yourself clean, you're also prone to that.
Oh, okay. So we've talked about the negative impacts. What are the positive impacts of menstrual hygiene management?
Okay, so I'll say one is self-confidence.
Okay.
Once you are clean, you feel that confidence to even be yourself and also to get people on board. Another one is you are safe and then you are healthy because some of these infections wouldn't really get to you. Yeah.
Okay. So you earlier on we talked about some of the challenges that people face when it comes to menstrual hygiene management. How can these challenges be addressed?
Okay, so I most often say that in public places, let's talk about schools and then the rest. If we can have a special place for ladies where young women who are suffering from this, or let's say young women not suffering, young women in their period can freely go to clean themselves or to change themselves, that would really help. And also if we can have more of programs where people would be educated and also reminded on the need to be clean or the need to practice hygiene or positive hygiene, I think that would also help. And so I say that more of education and more of having safe spaces where young people can freely do certain things and away of negativity.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges still. What role do you think parents and csos can play to support girls in menstrual hygiene management?
So one, I would say they actually play a very vital role in educating their words, because many people even get, or many young women get information from friends, and sometimes it might not be right. And so if a parent or a CSO can make it their responsibility to ensure that the right information is sent out, I think it would help. Another one too is they ensuring that we have that safe space where young people or women within this period can freely go to clean themselves. And also, I think more information or more education around how to keep themselves neat and also how to dispose sanitary parts and then the rest would also help.
Okay, your first menstrual hygiene management talk, who did you have it with?
So I had it with a school.
Like you had it in a school,
yes.
Like they taught you menstrual hygiene management in school?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So it was, I would say it was actually a teacher. So it wasn't really her topic to say, but she just came in and then she brought that up because she just noticed one or two things. And so it wasn't really a serious class. Okay. So just a teacher to students talk during break.
Okay, so tell us about UMSA Foundation.
Okay, so UMSA Foundation is an organization which seeks to identify, recruit, and also empower young women and also children. And so we do projects on empowerment, health, entrepreneurship. And so under the health aspect, we do more of nutrition and also sexual reproductive health and rights and then related. And under education, we do reading clinics. And from that angle, we actually have some number of clubs in schools. We have 20 clubs in 20 schools. We run this reading clinic project. And from technology, we are still working on some STEM projects which would anytime soon roll out. But we've done a lot of robotic trainings for few of the rural schools too. So basically that's UMSA.
Okay, so how long have you been in existence?
So on paper, I would say 4. We will be 5 next year, January.
Okay. What's inspired the whole starting of the UMSA Foundation?
Okay, so I would say that it's most often I always find it difficult to really say as on how it went, because to me I feel it's weird. And so I didn't really get certain things from my house. Okay, let's come to information, how you feel. My family always felt like, are you this girl, you are like this? And that was because in the house I usually didn't like talking, but the rest in the house liked to talk more. And when it comes to that openness, because they like to talk, they would always say it. And when it comes to academics, people say I'm intelligent, but the truth is I'm the last in the house. And so my parents would always compare, even see your younger sister, she did this than you, see this, so all those comments were pushing me down. because there were certain things I really wanted to say. But the moment I start, my younger sister would just pass a comment. So imagine your younger sister would always pass comments and then you have to shut up. From time to time, I started watching people like going out, church, they give me roles to play. And so at a point, I watched TV and then I saw a woman standing there and I felt like, okay, even though I don't watch TV, but I saw the woman and I felt like I wanted to be like this woman. So she was wearing a trouser, standing, speaking to people in public. And some of the few things she said was more of encouraging them to stand up for themselves and to say certain things. So I just looked and I felt like, okay, I don't watch TV, but upon seeing this woman, I feel I have seen myself. Why not work on this? And so later, I started doing small talks in the house. When my mother comes, then I'll shut up and sit down again. And from there, I started going to communities, just normal visits. I go, I see things that are not right, and I feel this should be right. And so in conclusion, I just felt like, okay, so there are people like me out there, people who could do better. But one or two things are really pressing them down. So if they don't really have the energy to do it, why don't I just start up that? Maybe areas I really lacked, somebody shouldn't really lack in that area. And that's where UMSA is focusing on. Because if it comes to academics, we feel reading is something, we feel literacy is something. The ability to read actually gives you more confidence to do certain things you want to do. And when it comes to health too, basic things around your menstrual health and then hygiene really counts. But unfortunately, many people don't know. But if they get to receive all these information, that would actually build them to be better people in future. So basically, that's UMSA, and that's how we are growing.
Okay, so when the idea first came to you, who did you share it with?
So I shared it with a friend. Even though I shared it with few friends, not straightforward. I would be like, okay, so I think this, so what do you think? And they will always shut me down. Oh, keep quiet, this isn't for you. You know, they would always compare.
No, you tell them you want to start an organization.
Not really as an organization. I just tell them, okay, so I think something has popped up. I want to organize an activity for children. Then they'll tell me, shut up and sit down. It's not for you. And then they would always do that comparison. Can't you see this person? See how she is? Like those things. But it's from a particular friend. When we spoke, one evening we were just talking and then he just told me, okay, Jennifer, I think you've been doing this in church. So if you should do that for the community, like you've always said, I think it would help. And I asked him, how did he know I really wanted to do such? And he said from our conversations, he realized I was always shy to really bring that up. And so that was it. He just pushed me and then told me, all right, so we are not talking about this anymore. The next time we talk, I want to see something rolling. And that was it.
So then you decided to start. So did you already have every paperwork sorted out before you started, or?
No.
Okay.
So for paperwork, I would say I'm maybe still working on paper-related things. Okay. Because sometimes I pick something up, then school or job comes, then I have to put that down. Yeah. But for now, our paperwork should be ready before the end of this year.
Okay. So for your first activity, what did you do?
My first activity was with the orphanage, the Nyani children. So we actually held a mentorship session with them. That was one-on-one mentorship. So with that, I called for volunteers. People came around, you interact with the child, just to have that connection with the child. I think that was our first activity.
Okay. So you mentioned a reading clinic. How did that come about? Wait, let's say, how do you do that?
Okay, so with reading clinic, we don't really have one way of doing it. Okay. Sometimes it depends on the number of people available, that the number of volunteers available. Other times it depends on the level of readers you have, and also the number of books or the kind of books you have. And so one way you can also do is when the number is equal, you feel like you have enough volunteers to help the children read, you put them into groups. And so each group has a mentor. That's the volunteer who would sit with them and then ensure that at least one, like every child should be able to identify a word, a letter, make meaning out of what is being read. Not just to read and go home, but at least the child should be able to identify and know that, so tomorrow the child can just pick that up again. And another way too we do it is, if we have enough volunteers, like we don't have put the children in group, but we have that one-on-one thing with the child. You sit, then you look at the child. This particular child, what does the child want? then that is it. The mentor would have to just draft something out of that to sit with the child, and then that is done. But in our group clinics, like what we do is afterwards, we pick anybody at all to come and summarize. And so you realize it's always fun, and at the end, most of the children are able to learn, and also their confidence level is built because the child knows that anybody can be called to say something. So the mentor ensures that everybody in the team at least is able to read one line or knows what's happening in the book. And when you finish, you realize that those who didn't even want to talk, everybody's putting their hand, like the person wants to be called to say something. So yeah, that's how our reading clinics are done.
Okay, let me backtrack a little. When you started the Yumza Foundation, how did your parents feel about it?
Okay, so I would say for me, my parents have always said I've been surprising them because I was the nobody in the house, in quotes, and all of a sudden everything started turning out in a better way or in a different way. And so they do more of my work for me too. There are times my mom is like, won't you send me? Like, imagine your mother or father come and ask you, won't you send me? And so with all this, you can see excitement. And I feel now, if not for anything, but they know that you should never shut your daughter or your son down. You should always give that child exposure. Because I actually told myself, with all those I spoke to, and then they told me, nah, this is not for you. I want to do this, they tell me, nah, this is not for you. And people who felt, okay, she wasn't academically good, and so she's not our favorite. I just told myself I wanted to surprise all of them. And I wouldn't be the one coming to them, but they should come to me one day to say certain things, like for themselves. And I think it has worked. When I started doing all this, within some short while, many people actually came up to say certain things. And I would say my parents in particular, now they have been saying it all the time to other parents. So that's an impact. The fact that they can also tell somebody else, don't discourage your child, or your child can do this. I think that alone is a plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to the reading clinic bit. You said, what is the criteria for selecting schools to be part of this reading clinic, and how often do you do that?
Okay, so with the reading clinic schools, or the schools we've actually selected, when we were to do the pilot, first we didn't really have these clubs in place. So we just picked schools that were closer to us, so we don't really struggle. And so just to say, Yumza, it's actually operating in 4 districts. That's Sanargu, Tamale Metro, Kumbungu, and then Savulugu. And so we did more of our clinics either in Savulugu. I think we just did one there, but we've done more in Kumbungu, Tamale Metro, and also Sanargu. And so with the schools we worked with from the beginning, we just picked them. But to add other schools, making the 20, we got in touch with people, volunteers who stay within an area, so you don't struggle, because most of the things we do are from our own packet, so you don't have to struggle to go and reach somewhere else. So that's what we did. We just picked schools closer to people we work with so that they can easily access.
Okay, so how often do you do this reading clinic?
Okay, so now with the reading clinic, we are trying to hold it once every week, but that is not so straightforward with all the schools. And so once our paperwork is done, like I said, before the end of this year, that structure will be done better. Then we see how we can run that as a better project.
Okay, so if I am getting you correctly, it's like you pick schools in deprived areas.
Yes, we have
and
schools in deprived
then you
areas.
teach them. Okay, so you also talked about skills, how you empowered some people with skills. Which are these category of people? Because I want to believe that they are not children.
No.
Okay, because you said Yumza focuses on children, young people, and women. So how is that too? What exactly do you do?
Okay,
What kind of skills are you equipping them with?
Okay, so we have this IT related to, that's for people who are interested, and we also do more of attachments for people, because we've not really brought them together. I think we planned that for some time, but it all flopped at the point. And so we do attachment. If you want to learn a skill, that if you want to do soap making, we just put you in a cluster, we get someone to come and then take you through. Or else if somebody else is doing it somewhere, we take you there. If you also want to learn how to do that smoke, the weaving of smoke, yes, because around Kumbungu, most of the people there, that's what they learn. We just attach them to somebody, and then the person learns from that angle. I think for now, that's what we've done. Yeah.
So how, like, you have people that are already trained in certain skills that train the people you send, right?
Yes, so we have some number of volunteers who have those skills
already.
Yes,
oh,
and
impressive.
If you have somebody, let's say if you want to learn a skill and we don't have anybody, we just do recommendations. We just check around your area, then we just speak with the person, and you go learn the skill you want to learn.
So is it free? Like, does the person have to offer free service?
No, yes, it's just for free. We just talk to them. We let them understand. Okay, we don't have money. We are trying to help them out, and so that is it. But I don't know, but maybe somebody would want money when we start growing to a point. But for now, people with workspace all understand, and then they are okay to help. As far as the person coming to learn is willing to learn as required. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go back to the robotics training. I was actually really excited when I heard that, because we do not really hear a lot of that. Yeah. So like, how is it done? Which people are doing the training, and where does it take place? Okay, so
with that, we did it once. I think we've been planning another one again, but the person to facilitate hasn't really been available. So we did that in partnership with ETC Solutions. It's actually a tech company. And so what we did was we just found a school that's Yilona around Bawa Barracks. It was a deprived area. And so why we even did it there was because most of the girls dropped out. So like at a point, because of menstrual pad, because of sanitary pad, teaching your parents would be like, go and marry. That was the kind of information I was getting from the head teacher. So I had to quickly put something that would make it interesting. Sorry. And so what we did was the ETC team came. We just gathered the students. This is what we want to do. They kept them into groups. Then they taught them what they should, the kind of a robot they should build. And then they built it, and that was it. But the robots were actually working, like they were movable ones. So afterwards, they just dismantled their machines, and that's all. But yes, for next year, we are actually praying that all this comes to pass, because we want to have the robotic club running perfectly well. At least if we should have a space where people can come and then learn one or two of these things, it would help. So
I am almost sorry you didn't bring pictures and videos, because I missed that, because I would have really loved to see a lot of young people in action building a robot. I think that is a very impressive thing. So how, with funding, how has it been for you? How do you fund these projects?
Okay, so I so much believe in one thing. I feel when it comes to impact, it depends on you. And when it comes to passion, impact is so easy for you. Like, you don't really have to struggle. And so with funding, most of the funds have actually come from either myself or a few friends around, depending on what we want to do. Yeah, so that's it. We've not really written anything to give to somebody, and the reason was I felt like, okay, so yes, it's a passion, it's interest, I want to do this, but I asked myself, can I really do this if there's a lot of funds? I wanted to try something out of it, but yeah, I feel we are getting to 5 on paper, and so if not for anything, we should be able to write for support, so we can work on plans better, because now we know that we are capable. Because having done projects for the past 4 years without receiving, let's say, funds from somebody to do it alone, at least we've worked.
So you mean when you want to undertake a project, you call on your friends, ask them to donate, and then?
Yes, depending on the kind of a project it is.
Because
if it's something I feel I just push that.
Oh, okay. Wow. Your friends are really good friends. Would they be my friends too?
No. They wouldn't be.
Oh, okay. So I understand that tomorrow you have an activity coming up. Tell us about it.
Okay, so tomorrow we are we are bringing together 10 girls from 5 schools, so making it 50, and we're going to train these 5 ladies on leadership and also menstrual hygiene. And our aim is to make them ambassadors afterwards. So once they go through the training, they can also get back to their schools to serve as ambassadors for menstrual hygiene or promoting menstrual hygiene and then its course. And afterwards, that's during the training, after they are done with the training, we would actually give them some reusable sanitary pads and also take them through how it should be done. So that's our plan for now. But afterwards, that's after we are done with the training and everything, we're actually hoping to engage them more on this, as they are going to serve as ambassadors, and then the rest.
Of all the topics, why menstrual hygiene?
So, like I said, I actually like women, okay? I don't know if because I'm a woman, but I feel like I was challenged to do certain things for myself. And so many people have to be challenged too. I have the education background, although I don't teach, but I do social work. And so you realize that in the classroom or in the school, many young people suffer from certain things. A lady is flowing and she doesn't even know how to keep herself. And trust me, you get to town and then you see a lot of adults who are also in their period, but yet you see the woman and you feel like this one there. You go for programs, somebody you feel is empowered to a point, doesn't even know how to keep pad like safe. That's after she has used it. And so we actually partnering with Smart. So it's a friend from the US. We are just trying to do all this for her because in her organization they do more of research. But we discussed menstrual hygiene and then she felt like that was fine. So she's flying in tonight, then we do that tomorrow and then she gets back.
Oh,
so that's
okay.
It.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you who is involved, but you've mentioned about you partnering with Smart and all of that. So what should participants expect to learn tomorrow?
So I think I've mentioned parts of that, or I've mentioned that already. So I'm saying that we'll take them through the leadership component. So we are trying to build their self-esteem and also confidence. And afterwards, we take them through menstruation and also hygiene. So they know that at least if I'm in this period, it's not a curse. It's normal. You should feel it, but you should be able to keep yourself better, just to make sure you are that woman we've all expected you to be. Yeah, so that's it. So they are just serving as ambassadors, and so it's going to be an interesting engagement. And I'm sure those we haven't really selected will be missing out. But yeah, we would roll that out soon. Better. That's for the schools. So these ambassadors can also assist in the implementation of our plans.
Okay, so where is this taking place?
So it's taking place at the Youth Home.
Okay.
National Youth Authority Conference Hall.
Okay. So are you expecting volunteers, or you already have people on ground that are ready to help?
Yes, so we actually have people on ground already to help with us. But I think we are still open. So from here and then the rest of the activities, people who would really wish to volunteer and also to assist can always get in touch. So we see how it goes.
Okay. So if someone wants to join UMSA, is there a criteria that the person must fit to be able to join UMSA, or you are open to everybody?
Okay, so we actually open to everybody, but we don't just take in everybody too. And that's because we realize many people just rush for things. We see this group and the person is rushing in, but the truth is the person's passion or the interest isn't really there. Maybe my friend is there, then I'm following the person. So what we do at UMSA is, when you show interest, we let you know that, all right, it's an organization, although we have a membership base too. And so the members are actually the volunteers who assist in the implementation of our projects or our programs. And so we have a form, a membership form. Once you show interest, ask some few questions, you answer, and then I feel like, okay, it's reasonable enough. I give you the form, you fill the form. Afterwards, I go through the form again with the team to see if this person can really be part. And that is it. If it's fine by you and by the team, we bring you on board. Yes.
Oh, okay. I almost forgot to ask, what is the meaning of UMSA?
Love all, or love for all.
And what language is that?
Dabani.
And why did you choose UMSA?
Okay, so I remember I actually started everything, okay. You know, the confidence wasn't really there. So I just didn't want anything that was attached to me. I wanted a name that people, if you should remember, hear UMSA, you know, Jennifer can be UMSA, because you know that people around us. And so we at UMSA, we are organizing a general cleanup, like I said, and we've sent invites to a lot of groups. And I think so far, we've had over 10 groups showing interest to participate. And so we are just calling on everybody available to make it a point to come around to help. The cleaning venue is a Nwani Children's Home, and we'll have that at 7 a.m. on Tuesday. So that's it.
Okay. So before we wrap up, Jennifer, your final words.
My final words.
Yeah.
All right. So I would say I would like to thank you and thank the whole team for bringing me here. I really didn't expect the conversation to go this way. I realized that you pushed it deeper than I really expected. But yes, it's in line, you know. And so we just want to say that we are still open for more volunteers and also people who are willing to support. UMSA isn't really one person's job, and that's the reason why from the start I just said that the name was chosen so that it doesn't really have a relation with me. And so I tell volunteers it is for everybody. So if you sign up as a volunteer, please make sure that you are coming with all your heart and with all your soul. You want to support a worthy cause and not supporting because Jennifer is your friend or Jennifer is your friend's friend. And so I appreciate everybody who have been supporting us so far. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Jennifer, for coming.
You're welcome.
We are grateful. I'm sure that a lot of people have heard you and heard your story. I'm hoping that it will let a lot of people emerge to volunteer with your organization. And you are doing a very good job if no one has told you. And we really appreciate what you are doing for communities and children. So thank you very much for that. So you heard it all. Jennifer is doing menstrual hygiene management tomorrow. So I think that if you want to support in any way, you can reach her on Jennifer Tembila on Facebook so that you can have a conversation and then you support her as much as you can. Someone once said, don't wait for a girl to become a woman to empower them. Empower a girl's life by giving them sanitary pads. With pads, we give them wings. So this is all on menstrual hygiene management today. If you need more information on how you can support Jennifer, I'm sure you can reach her on Jennifer Tembila on Facebook. So I want to say a very big thank you to you all watching today. We are very grateful, and also a very big thank you to the technical team. As I always say, without them there will be no show. And also to Jennifer for taking time out to be here today. So today on Shining Spotlights on people doing so much for communities, today we talked to Jennifer Tembile, and I'm hoping that the conversation has been very insightful and we are all picking a lesson or two from it. So until we come your way same time next week, my name is Rahel Enchi and I was your host for today.